Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing some quick little love notes from your person. This is going to be a message cards only reading, and there are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is this black quartz. Group 2 is the Rootbeer calcite. And group 3 is the candle quartz. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you would like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I've just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the black quartz. So I'm going to be getting 3 cards from 3 different decks, and let's see, what does your person want you to know from their higher self? Okay, and we have I feel sad. So they could be in a lot of nostalgia right now, missing you, thinking back on something that has occurred in this connection, or maybe just kind of a feeling of isolation in their life in general. Maybe a lot of things kind of falling away or shifting for them. This person might have been really inclined recently to kind of take some time for themselves to sort of withdraw or pull away from other connections in their life, maybe friends, family, perhaps other romantic partnerships, just to really get some time and space to figure things out, what it is that they want, where it is that they are in their life, what it is that they want moving forward. Some epiphanies may have occurred to this person, have come to this person in the form of dreams, signs that they're getting, or downloads that are happening even in their waking consciousness that is helping them to recognize you and this connection, the potential that existed in the past, and feelings that they still have for you that they may have tried to stuff down or walk away from or kind of ignore that are bubbling to the surface again. They're seeing things from a new perspective. They're appreciating you from this new vantage point, seeing the situation with fresh eyes, and with that comes a sense of longing to return to a closeness you once shared, or a little bit of regret even about a decision that might have been made to push you away or to move in a direction other than towards this connection in the past. And they also say we have had many lifetimes together. So this could be a past life soulmate or a twin flame, somebody who, when you met them, there's just this sense of familiarity, this sense of knowing that was very uncanny, very unlike anything that you've experienced with another soul or another person rather before. And it's something that is this person's been reflecting on this. That was not unnoticed by them, even if it's something that they didn't address in the past, address at the time. It's something that is really stuck with them. It's something that they're really reflecting on. They might even be doing some research into past lives, kind of exploring, trying to scratch beneath the surface of this very unique connection, why they feel so drawn to you, why you feel so familiar, why you feel like home to them in a way that they are unaccustomed to or haven't experienced with other people. There's a sense of this familiarity, even from the moment the two of you met or first really started interacting and getting to know each other. There was an ease of opening up towards you, a sense that the more you kind of revealed about yourself, it provided some kind of knowing or confirmation for them, almost a sense of remembering each other. Instead of, freshly getting to know each other for the first time. And they also say, you are my twin flame. So this realization may have come to them. Again, this idea of researching past lives or soul connections, trying to get to the bottom of why they still feel this energy. They feel this bond with you so intently, or kind of what the meaning of all of this is. And they may have come across ideas and concepts of soulmates, of twin flames, of past lives. And this information is resonating with them. For some of you, these people could be watching tarot readings, even pickacard readings, even the same readers and channels that you are watching, the two of you. It's this idea of kind of, in these separate places and both kind of tapping into that same sort of energy of information and love to try and decipher what this means, to try and kind of feel into this and get some kind of answers, even though there, some sort of a wedge or a barrier, maybe complete separation or no contact between the two of you. If this is something where you had maybe introduced the concept to this person of being their twin flame, you considered them your twin flame or your soulmate, and this might have been something that was very triggering for them, or that they just kind of rejected this idea, laughed it off, or didn't give it much credence, it feels like something has really shifted with this person. It's an idea of some seeds that were planted energetically, and maybe even something that you had said, information that you might have presented to them, that now in hindsight, as time has passed, again, this energy of sort of isolation and being alone, left with their thoughts to really mull things over and come to the conclusions on their own, that it's starting to make sense, it's starting to resonate with them. And with that is sort of this crushing or this sinking feeling of having sort of pushed away or walked away from a situation, or choosing not to invest more fully in a situation that is actually for their highest good in some way, that challenges and evokes within them sort of this best version of self to come out. If this person is in some kind of another romantic connection, or even if they're not, even if they're just taking time for themselves, there is this point of comparison that is going on between what they've experienced with you in this dynamic, even if this is something where it never really got off the ground beyond sort of friendship or just kind of an initial stage of getting to know each other. The intensity and the depth of that bond, as they are comparing that even to people they've been in long-term relationships with, relationships from their past. There's a direct energy of contrast here in terms of what you really bring out of this person, the ways in which they have been motivated or inspired to kind of step into their best version of self, to really reach for their goals and their dreams. This idea of kind of resurrection or having really brought something back to life from within this person that others have not been able to recognize, or to, even through an investment of time, a long-term relationship, have not been able to touch on this aspect of this person, have not been able to provide this level of hope and healing to this person, that it almost seems very kind of spontaneously and instantaneously, and without even meaning to, that this dynamic, this energy exchange has really brought that into their world. And there's a sense of really wanting to kind of return to that, to come back to that, missing the closeness and the potential that existed between you. Okay, and we have close your eyes and call in Saint Germain. Surround our love with the protection of the violet flame. So this person feels very safe in your presence, very safe to explore themselves, very safe to express facets and components of who they are that maybe in the past had been kind of ridiculed or shunned by other people. There's a sense of this person really wanting to invite you into that very private landscape within them. There's a sense of trust almost that they are safe and encouraged to be their genuine self, that this is a connection that encourages growth rather than stifles that blooming within them. And again, this energy of kind of nostalgia, longing for that, wanting that, missing that. This person could be sending you loving vibrations from afar. If this is somebody that meditates or has some kind of a spiritual practice, then they could almost be sort of deliberately tapping into this energy, reaching out to you from their higher self, or even just in their meditative state, making contact with you from that higher self perspective, something having shifted within this person to where it's almost the recognition now of an otherness to the presence that they have been sort of in communication with, in contact with during those meditative states, but not in the sense of almost an intrusion, but just a deeper understanding of kind of the intricacy of that component, of that liminality, of that space, that energy that they access during these times, a recognition of your vibration entwined with their vibration, and together that composes this very kind of dynamic being or state of the higher self. There's a sense of this person recognizing that to some degree your energies are very conjoined, and that some kind of a turning has happened, some kind of a shift has occurred, a turning point has happened to where as much as they may feel stifled or unable in the 3D sense to express a lot of these things, they are really seeking out that interaction or that time of communion from the higher self, either through deliberate meditation or just even in some quiet moments, even in these times of reflection. And in the past where they may have kind of pushed away this energy, tried to sort of shoo away these feelings or these thoughts, there's an essence of leaning more into that safe space, allowing themselves to be cradled by this energy, this dynamic that still flows between you energetically, even at a distance. They also say, I long to run my fingers through your hair and hold you closer than anyone has before. So this idea of deep intimacy and this person really wanting to reveal aspects of themselves to you that they have been unable or unwilling or never really felt comfortable or invited or encouraged to express about themselves before. There is this longing within them, not just to connect with you in the higher realms and in the 5D and in the energetic sense, but there's this desire to move back into a space of closeness, to take these desires and these hopes and these fantasies out of that realm of imagination and feeling, and sort of manifest that down into the 3D in the form of reconciliation, maybe a conversation that needs to take place, an apology, some kind of explanation, or even some kind of confirmation, some kind of validation for you that what you have experienced and are sensing and believing this connection to be is something that they also have come to this realization. It's made itself known as truth to them. Even if they don't have words to define it, such as soulmate, twin flame, twin soul, past life, soul connection, kindred spirit, whatever label you'd like to put on that. It's a general energy. It's a sense of magnetization. It's a sense of the two of you fitting very intimately and very intricately together in a way that even through long-term relationships that they've really worked on with people, bonds that have been forged over the course of time, there's a seamlessness to this, almost where the space where they end and you begin energetically is imperceptible to them. And it's this intimacy, this almost next level aspect of connection, this higher level of connection that they experience with you, and even really started to sense very immediately into your connection, almost instantaneously to some degree, this draw, this pull, and this level of kind of comfort in the space of peace and encouragement to grow and to blossom and to bloom. Again, it's something very different than what they've experienced, and it's calling them back. There's a sense of this person really being pulled back home into themselves, and ultimately through that space, through that kind of temple and sanctuary within, to be called back home to you as well, in an energetic sense, and desires to do this in a 3D sense. They also say, I'm sorry I ghosted you and stopped communicating. It was never my intention to hurt you. So this can relate to kind of a literal 3D ghosting, no contact situation where this person kind of, things were going really well, things were going very, very good. It was very intense. It seemed like you two were on the same page. Things were building. Momentum was happening. Doors to a greater understanding and experience of one another were opening. And then this person almost abruptly sort of cutting that off, pulling away, retreating, maybe with no explanation. Almost this idea of having gotten spooked and becoming very skittish and kind of moving off in the other direction, kind of withdrawing back into that shell within themselves. And this might even be something where, if this is still somebody who you're in contact with to some degree, again, this idea of kind of leaning in, unfolding, allowing themselves to be sort of brought to the surface, resurrected in a certain way through this dynamic, through this energy, that this pull and this kind of unfolding and this enveloping one another in this very loving energy could have felt very mutual. It could have, been this wave that was definitely increasing between the two of you, only to have that sort of be withdrawn very abruptly, very quickly. And they have a lot of regrets about that, which ties into this energy of feeling sad. It's almost this deep empathic bond where they are able to feel the heartbreak and disappointment that this action or this reaction rather has caused, something that, didn't really have explanation, left you with a lot of questions, left you maybe even in a sense of doubt or needing to kind of close yourself back off in order to protect your heart and instigate some kind of self-healing mechanisms to try to make sense out of what happened and sort of recalibrate a state of normality for yourself out of whatever has occurred here. And so it is not an out of sight, out of mind situation. It's definitely weighing heavily on this person's mind. They're thinking about it. They're desiring to kind of move beyond this. And again, might be connecting with you in a 5D sense, deliberately or even kind of unconsciously, but at those times when you make that very intimate soul-to-soul contact, when you rather become aware of kind of that persistent and unbreakable bond between your souls, and allowing that current of love to infuse the both of you, and to kind of heal you and uplift you and sort of guide and direct the course of action moving forward. This feels like on the other side of that this person is also sort of giving into that. They're feeding into that. They're nourishing that cord and that energy, which may be manifesting in, again, sensing this loving energy kind of emanating from them. For a lot of you, it might have felt like kind of a cold or closed off energy, but there's a sense here of even the desire that this person has of wanting to kind of thaw this connection out, that you might be then sensing some movement. This idea almost of kind of a fishing line that is in the water and starting to feel those kind of tugs on that tension, on that cord or that wire between the two of you. And all of that really being this indication of, a lot. It might seem very kind of placid and still or frozen on the surface of this connection, but there's a lot happening and churning beneath the surface. Okay, and we have triggered. So definitely an explanation there about kind of what happened, why this person pulled away, kind of pulled back their energy or completely cut off contact or communication. They really want you to know that it's not you, this was them, this was nothing that you did wrong. It was almost kind of touching on that very deep level of intimacy, this invitation that they were responding to. They were answering that call to lean further into this, to allow themselves to be shaped and formed and transformed in all of the most wonderful and unexpected and unanticipated ways by this current that flows between the both of you. And it's something that, is filling them with a lot of joy and anticipation and desire. They were liking what they were feeling. They were liking the way they were feeling on the inside, how that feeling on the inside was then rippling out to the experiences that they are having in their material world. Almost a sense of their mood brightening and then the clouds in their life dissipating. And as intense and kind of wonderful as this is, maybe even intoxicating as this was for this person, at a certain point, you kind of the intensity of this, it came into contact with almost these gatekeepers within themselves, unresolved wounds or kind of instances maybe of rejection in love in the past, where, as much as they were kind of inclined to allow themselves to be taken on these wings of love, to rise beyond their circumstances, to rise beyond what they've known love to be. Previously, then, it was almost these alarm bells going off saying, remember the last time you allowed yourself to open your heart to love, or remember that time when you were rejected or you were disappointed, or opening your heart to love, cost you. It came at great expense. And so it's almost this energy of ghosts of the past really having triggered this person that, again, has caused them to kind of withdraw. They're in this sort of contemplative energy, starting to pick things apart, really decipher this, and to start to see with some new clarity and perspective how they may have, through their actions, really run away from kind of this energy, or this one thing that could have really been sort of that paradigm shift in the experience of love that they've had in general. So maybe someone with a history of love as disappointment, coming into contact with, love as elation, love as satisfaction, love as fulfillment, and a little bit of doubt setting in, this energy of almost too good to be true, and kind of their own fears and again, unhealed wounds within themselves, unresolved things that they may not have even been aware of, but it feels like they very much are aware of these things now, and maybe kind of in this process of trying to heal and resolve these things, knowing that that is very necessary in order to come back to that crossroads point where they choose the route of love, as opposed to kind of falling back into the route of fear as they had previously. They also say, I've thought about reaching out, but I don't know what to say. So again, that idea of wanting to resume a closeness with you, not wanting this to be the end of your story, wanting to somehow fix things, change things, move things forward, maybe give some kind of an apology, an explanation, vindication, yearning for you, yearning for the times that you shared. A lot of regret here about a decision that was made, a sense of almost feeling that they've defeated themselves in some capacity. They've self-sabotaged by and it's a very natural reaction when things are triggered, when deeply embedded wounds are triggered. The first instinct is to flinch, to pull back. It's almost like touching the hot stove and just kind of reflexively pulling back. But in the aftermath of that, then as they're able to look around and kind of sense this desolation now, this feeling of sadness, or even just a feeling of energetic distance that has now occurred between the two of you, there's a lot of thought that's going into, how can I repair this? What do I need to do to kind of get back to that place? To earn this person's trust again, to get them to open up their heart again. How can we move beyond these circumstances? And they also say, suddenly all the songs I hear are about you. So they could be listening to love songs a lot, or getting a lot of kind of downloads and information through song lyrics, listening to playlists that remind them of you, or again, just kind of this idea of sort of withdrawing from the material world to a certain extent, creating or going into that sanctuary that maybe music provides for them, where they're just sort of alone with their thoughts. Things are able to flow. It's not so much active logic as opposed to the flow of feelings that are sort of evoked and are processed through them in that realm and vibration of music. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. Group 1. This could be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got C, Y, J, D, W, R, B, Q, S, K, A, and E. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 2. You chose the Rootbeer Calcite. So I'm going to be getting 3 cards from 3 different decks. And let's see, what does your person want you to know from their higher self? Okay, and they say, yes, your feelings are correct. So if you've been questioning if this person feels the intensity of the bond between the both of you, maybe if you are in kind of a silent period, things are sort of withdrawn, this person is not really opening up about their feelings, or is being a little bit guarded or mysterious, if this is someone you're in contact with still, then this is them letting you know that they do in fact feel the intensity of this connection. They do have feelings for you. The sense of maybe things that are unspoken, or more to their feelings than they are revealing to you at this time is definitely confirmed here, that there's an intensity. There's a volume of feelings that they may not be in general accustomed to expressing. They may have never felt something as intense as this before, or there could also be some wounding, kind of triggers that have been triggered, kind of heartbreak from the past that is causing them to be a little cautious, a little bit guarded. This feels like the energy of somebody even who may have kind of this idea of once bitten, twice shy, that they may have sustained kind of a substantial heartbreak or a series of heartbreaks in the past, and have made efforts to kind of identify and correct some patterns within themselves in terms of romance. Maybe this is somebody that had a tendency to rush into love in the past, and it ended in, heartbreak and disappointment. And so this time around, they're wanting to do things right. They're wanting to take things slow, to build some kind of foundation, or to at least honor the necessity and the value of time being on your side, to not do anything impulsively, to also honor kind of these barriers and boundaries within themselves, but that for whatever stage this connection is in, even if this is someone who has kind of pulled back their energy and has kind of withdrawn from you, or has gone kind of cold or silent, that underneath all of this, there is this kind of churning pool of emotions that they have for you. There's this desire to unleash this, to express this, to move towards you, to move in fully into this connection and express themselves to a very profound degree. But at the same time, there's this kind of this inner guidance system that is encouraging them to exercise some restraint, to take things slowly, or this is even kind of, again, this different approach to how they may be accustomed to dealing with and expressing themselves in loving connections. And they also say the time is not right. So again, some things might have been triggered within this person, some wounds or heartbreaks of the past that have caused them to kind of pull away. There's a recognition within them of some things they need to release and let go of, maybe some other cycles in their life that need to close out. This connection might have caught the two of you really by surprise. Could have been something you weren't really looking for, weren't really anticipating. And so with the introduction of this, with the intensity of these feelings that have been unleashed or uncovered within the two of you, this person really can sense that in order to act upon these things, which may explain kind of that degree of restraint, that there are other factors in their material world that need to be kind of sorted out, loose ends that need to be tied up, maybe even other relationships that they need to kind of close out or move away from, or in some way some kind of plan needs to be sort of put in place or figured out by this person about how the two of you can really make this work, what to do with these feelings. There's this process of kind of needing to go within, to sit with all of this, to figure all of this out, to digest everything that has happened between you, everything they're feeling, and to really, create a solid plan forward as far as how to transfer this out into the material world, not as something that is going to incinerate the two of you and leave you feeling very kind of lost and broken by love, as may have been the case in other connections in the past that you've had, but something that, once that fire is kind of unleashed, that it can be something that sustains and warms and nurtures the two of you for the long term, for the duration even of your lives together. And they also say, you will always be in my heart. So this is not an out of sight, out of mind situation. This person is thinking a lot about what they're feeling, about what they are being very drawn or compelled to do in regards to this connection. So if this is someone you're in contact with currently that is kind of pulled back a little bit, maybe they are, sort of acting a little bit aloof, or or just needing to kind of take their time, take their distance, kind of this energy of things were really hot and heavy, and then they've gone kind of cold on you, that, they're letting you know that this is not for a lack of affection. It's, again, something that has really been activated or triggered within them that is kind of helping them to understand the importance, the significance, the very unique and valuable dynamic that you two share, and wanting to kind of cherish that, protect that, do things right, establish kind of a framework, a system, a nest in which this connection is then able to, be nurtured, be cared for, and thrive and blossom and, take flight organically, as opposed to allowing just kind of the impulsivity or this desire, this magnetization to really carry you both away without, having kind of that solid plan or structure in place about how to really take this intensity and turn it into something of value, something that is lasting and meaningful for the two of you and fulfilling for the two of you in your lives going forward. Okay, and they say, you will never have anything to fear with me. I will keep you safe and secure. So this is, again, that idea of wanting to create almost this nest in which this love has the ability to be nurtured and to hatch and to grow into something very beautiful, very fulfilling and very long-lasting for the two of you. That this person, any kind of distance or any sort of hesitation, if this is someone that's, kind of taking their time to move things to the next level, they want to make sure that that they cultivate and are a safe space within themselves, so that they can then project out and be that safe space for you, for your emotional needs. A place where love is encouraged to blossom and grow, as opposed to a place where love is kind of inflicted by and afflicted by the wounds that they may be carrying around from past disappointments in love. This is also somebody who, if they've kind of pulled away from this connection, or even kind of gone silent to a certain degree, they are aware of other circumstances, either within themselves, emotional circumstances, maybe even circumstances in their material world that are not conducive to the well-being of this connection. And so this almost feels like a self-protective and a protective mechanism. Again, some other things that need to be closed out, loose ends that need to be wrapped up, that need to be tied up, aspects of this person that need to come more to the forefront and become more of a part of their dominant personality, as opposed to just kind of these repressed and shadow aspects. Somebody who wants to and feels the need to take some assertive action, take back some control of their life in some sense, to create kind of the environment, cultivate that environment within and without that is kind of the optimal circumstances for this love to really take root and to blossom and to take form. And they also say, I've never felt this strongly about anyone. So the intensity of this connection may have been very compelling for them, this desire to kind of rush forward, to give themselves completely to you, to open up their heart, to allow you in. And at the same time, the intensity of that really triggering, again, wounds of heartbreak from the past, but also this desire to cherish and protect this. Something within them, almost an instinct, is letting them know that, that this is something that has the ability to be very long lasting. This is almost what all that heartbreak was leading towards, that this connection is worth waiting for. It is worth taking the time to do things right, to make those preparations, to take those steps, to do that cleanup work, to really purify themselves and their environment, so that, once those kind of doors to the heart are open and the two of you sort of invite each other in and explore this terrain, it can be done so in a very brave capacity, in a very honest capacity, in a very unencumbered capacity. And also this knowledge that, again, other things, the conditions sort of need to be right, or need to be made right in this person's life and within this person, so that when they sort of douse themselves, when they immerse themselves in this kind of nourishment of love, that they are prepared to allow themselves to be transformed, to allow their life to be transformed into kind of the next level, or a new capacity, in a way that they have not experienced before, or that is not the case currently. They also say, I want to share the rest of my life with you. I'm ready to build a happy, secure family together. So again, this idea of longevity, that any kind of pause or delay that is occurring right now, a lot of this is really motivated not so much out of an energy of uncertainty, but out of this cognizance that they have that this connection, the potential that exists here, it's something which needs to be kind of honored in such a way. It needs to be treated as something sacred. And again, these preparations need to be made in the internal landscape and in this person's sort of material circumstances, material surroundings, to kind of mitigate the amount of debris or interference that would in any way stifle or inhibit what you two have the potential to grow and develop into together. Shared dreams that you might have, or just this person really wanting to make themselves optimally ready to receive you, to experience you, and to be able to allow you to receive and experience the fullest and most uninhibited version of who they are. Almost this gem that they have had within them, that they've been kind of keeping secreted within them, that has never been touched upon by anyone, or times in which they may have wanted to try and present that or show that to somebody, and it was kind of rejected or ridiculed, and it's caused them to kind of cloister that within them, to protect that within them, to create this wall or reinforce that barrier, that guardedness. There's a sense of invitation here of this recognition, this intensity that you are the heart that this kind of jewel within them is safe with. If anywhere that could thrive, it would be with you. And so in turn, they want to ensure that they themselves are that proper space for you, internally and externally, to where that jewel, that core of love that you hold within, that nourishment, that power that you hold within, that they are in a space of being ready to receive that, to be ready to kind of work with that and move with that, and grow and be transformed with that in kind of the optimal ways. Okay, and we have hopeful. So this person is definitely very optimistic about the changes that they feel they need to make. They've got a game plan, a timeline. Things are starting to really kind of come to their awareness as far as what needs to be done, what needs to change, what needs to shift. This feels like somebody who is starting to make those preparations, gather those supplies, gather that courage to have difficult conversations, to close out other relationships, other circumstances, maybe changes in lifestyle, in habits that they have, and kind of moving away from these things, investing in themselves, in their physical health, in their emotional health, maybe even their mental health and well-being, things that might have seemed very overwhelming or burdensome, or kind of challenges that they weren't prepared or didn't have the motivation to really endeavor before. There's a sense of seeing a horizon, seeing a greater purpose to that. Somebody who's willing to kind of invest in this process of kind of tightening up their life, cleaning things up to a certain extent, not just for themselves, but also with this knowledge that on the other side of that, it again creates this optimal space where love then has this environment to thrive. They also say the changes are real. So again, somebody who recognizes change is necessary within them, who may have been kind of hesitant or back and forth to make these changes previously in their life or up to this point, but now has this motivation. There's this velocity that is increasing within them. You might be starting to notice some small shifts, kind of some of those walls of armor coming down around this person's heart. This person might be opening up energetically to you more, if this is someone that you are still in contact with to some degree. If this is someone that's a complete no contact or separation situation, you may be noticing kind of a warming up of the energy again. If things have gone kind of cold, or they'd withdrawn or gone completely silent, you might be sensing some kind of movement, all of that being indicative of these changes that they are making within, this resolve within, maybe even small changes that they are starting to make, these small steps that are adding up to kind of this larger picture, this larger process of transformation that is seeking to take place. And they also say, I won't let you go. So even if you are at a distance from this person, they do not want to keep things in that state. There is a desire to return to you, to return to this connection as kind of an upgraded version of who you were dealing with before. That although they're needing to take some time, although the time is not right to, fully kind of give themselves to you and to experience this connection fully, they also want you to know that kind of their behavior, their actions at this point in time, it's this sense of not now, but not never. And with that is not this nebulous not never, somewhere off in the horizon, I'll do that tomorrow, I'll do that later. This does feel like somebody who, is becoming very clear, who is making these plans, who is, setting kind of wheels in motion, the wheels of change, somebody who's flowing with that urge to change, maybe other things that are being stirred up or triggered within their life, things that are starting to be shaken up or starting to kind of fall away or become very dissonant for them. And instead of resisting this change, this is somebody who's starting to flow with that, to trust in that, to trust that on the other side of endings is this potential for new beginnings for themselves and with you in this connection. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. Group 2, this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates with you. We've got Y, Q, A, R, B, D, T, X, U, and L. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 3. You chose the candle quartz. So I'm going to be getting 3 cards from 3 different decks, and let's take a look and see what does your person want you to know from their higher self. Okay, and they say open your heart. So you might have had a fight with this person, some difficulties. Maybe they have kind of pulled away from you in the past. This could be a full no contact or separation situation. And this person has a desire to kind of move beyond this. They may be considering coming towards you with an apology, an explanation. This could also be something where you might have offered this person your cup of love in the past and they kind of rejected that, or just kind of really aloof, sort of moved beyond that, sort of avoided that, and it could have led to some hurt feelings within you, kind of this instinct to sort of close your heart, to kind of retract or pull away from them in this circumstance. And with that is sort of this energy of regret. Now that time has passed and they've gotten maybe some perspective on how maybe they were just a little bit overwhelmed or triggered, but didn't necessarily use their words to talk about that, to express what they were feeling, but just kind of, shut the circumstance down or pulled away or kind of withdrew from the situation. And kind of that energy of hindsight, that they are starting to become very aware, maybe even feel in empathically to what kind of the heartbreak and the disappointment that ensued from that, kind of the aftermath of that, sensing the changes in your energy, in your vibration towards them and in general. So even at a distance, it feels that the two of you can really sense one another, and it's something that they're wanting to kind of shift the circumstances between the both of you, to kind of turn the page, to move out of this difficulty or whatever this kind of incident or period of disappointment has been, to kind of step back into the sunlight of this connection, to kind of lighten and alleviate the burden that might have been experienced, and kind of this energy of unspoken words that are lingering between the two of you. And they also say, can you feel me with you? So they could be sending you some loving thoughts, loving vibrations, maybe even telepathically, making efforts to communicate with you, thinking about you so intently that in a sense they are energetically projecting towards you. You might feel them pulling on your energy, feel them around you, a lot of thoughts about them, a lot of dreams of you. And it feels like in a certain sense, they are feeling your presence with them energetically. And it's kind of like the two of you really boomeranging off each other in this sense. They're feeling you, they're picking up on what you are feeling, the thoughts that you're having, this longing that you are having, even a bit of frustration that you're having. And it's creating this effect of, while they might not be able at this point or circumstances, they're kind of worried if your heart would be open to them or if you would just kind of immediately reject this. So in the interim, they're sending you that apologetic energy. They're sending you that loving energy from afar, almost a sense of testing the waters before they kind of make a move towards you, or even just from the higher self level, reaching out with that kind of loving and nurturing and nourishing vibration as sort of an indication of a prelude of what may be to come in the 3D sense, or to really just convey to you the truth of how they feel, the truth of what they, how they value this connection, and kind of the way they interact with you energetically, that, might be kind of a contrast to what sort of the ego-driven, the 3D mind has been able to present to you in terms of words and actions, or even inactions, or kind of silence and things that have been held back on. And they also say, I love you. So that has become very apparent to them, this core truth and core reality that might be leading to kind of this energy of regret over what was said or what was kind of held back on in the past. That when all's said and done, at the end of the day, they have so much love for you. It feels like a love that they have not experienced before. In some way, you have shown to them what love truly is, even in the ways in which, in the aftermath of whatever might have happened between the two of you, how you have still, even as much as you might have been processing some frustration or, being upset, being kind of sad about these things, they're sensing that at a core, there's still love that you have for them, which could be something that they're very unaccustomed to dealing with in people. They might have experienced a lot of people in their life that were kind of vengeful or sort of vindictive, petty, passive aggressive, people with kind of a sense of entitlement, that when difficulties came, these people would, operate out of this energy of distortion, would kind of respond, to fire with fire, and would really, be very cutting and very cruel toward this person, almost being very petty or pouting when things didn't really go their way. But as a contrast to this, with whatever your response has been, or even just the ways that, after maybe some kind of an initial back and forth, how you've kind of withdrawn your energy and have focused on sort of healing yourself, moving through this, allowing this person the space, honoring the boundaries they may have set in place, or honoring, an opportunity that they did not act upon that was presented to them in the past. And in some way, this is very different from what their experience of love has been in the past. This is a very different dynamic of, people and how that's played out, that they have felt loving feelings towards, or, even very different from how circumstances where the words "I love you" were exchanged, but then when kind of the challenges or the tests to that love arose, kind of how that all played out. And so all of this in very subtle ways is just, again, reinforcing that core truth and kind of that loving energy, that sense of, can you feel them with you, that from the higher self level, and for a lot of you, even very silently from this person in a 3D sense, they're sending a lot of love your way. There's this desire to kind of move on beyond whatever you've experienced or whatever chapter you are in together in your love story currently. Okay, and they say, I often sing to you when you're not here. Pay attention to songs that stand out to you. They are a message from me. So this could be a musically inclined person. They could be writing songs for you, or even just kind of playing songs, love songs, playlists that were, shared music between the both of you, music that reminds them of you. Maybe they're listening to your favorite music to kind of get into that space, that realm of connecting with you energetically. There's a sense too of, again, kind of very deliberately reaching out to you energetically, sending you these loving vibrations, sending you that apologetic energy that for whatever reason they don't feel comfortable or ready or even able to express these things in a concrete sort of verbal way to you. And so they are doing it sort of etherically, telepathically, energetically. And so again, song lyrics might be very significant for you, and is definitely also an invitation from them to connect with them at the higher self. Establish that dialogue in the form of kind of exchanging these vibrations back and forth, responding to what you are sensing telepathically from them with, telepathy in return, kind of that response energy. This invitation here to try and work some of these things out between the both of you energetically. Encouragement as well to, focus on the energy of love, to heal your heart, to come to a space where, even if it's something where the two of you are, unable to move forward together in a romantic situation from this feels like somebody who really, because of this love they have for you, they really want you to heal your heart. They don't want you to close off completely to love because of the disappointment that you've experienced with them in the past in this connection. They also say, you are my nurturing life force, my reason for being on earth. Together we will experience many lives here and spread healing across humanity. So this person is really sensing a great significance to this connection, feeling that the two of you meeting, colliding, everything that has happened, everything that continues to happen between the both of you really ties into some greater purpose. In some way, the pieces of their life are starting to add up. They're starting to connect the dots about roads and even kind of closed doors and other missed opportunities that have all kind of served to align them. It has been the paving of this path that has led the two of you together to that point of intersection where you could really, spark each other, where you could really touch on this very true and pure vibration of love that might have been quite elusive for the two of you throughout your life. And there's also a sense of, with this, of, this person not wanting this again to be the end of your love story. A sense that healing needs to take place internally for the two of you to really get back on the same page. There's a desire that this person has as well to bring you healing in the form of some kind of an apology, or being more emotionally open and available, more receptive to this connection than they had been in the past. There's a sense here too that the energetic dynamic between the both of you, even in the ways that this person connects with you or kind of feels you in this etheric way, it's very healing to them. That this connection in a very sort of subtle and intangible way is helping them to also open their heart to love. Maybe after a significant heartbreak or a series of heartbreaks where they kind of had shut down, they'd closed off, dismissed the idea of love, just kind of written that off, that was the end of the story for them in this lifetime, maybe considering themselves to be unlucky in love or undeserving in love or cursed in love. And in some way, this dynamic, this interaction with you has really blown a lot of those misconceptions apart. It has kind of cleared that away from them almost instantaneously. The intensity and the velocity of this connection, of this bond, and what this is really bringing up within this person, it feels very profound, and it is in some way also helping them to become more cognizant and to align very subtly but in an important way with their life's purpose as well, to a greater degree in this lifetime. And they also say, I want to share my darkest fears and deepest desires, but I stop myself in fear that you'll laugh at me. So fear is a big element here. Fear of opening up to love again and maybe getting hurt, getting rejected, being ridiculed. This feels like somebody who, is a deeply emotional person, but for whatever reason has kind of needed to, or has been conditioned to kind of close their heart off to love, to shut off that part of themselves, to kind of cloister that, to keep that away, to not demonstrate that, to self-protect, or in some way equates that as one of their flaws instead of seeing that, depth of emotion as in fact a source of their strength. And there is this desire to, again, open up, to share more of themselves, to allow you to experience a face of this person or a depth to this person that might have only been suggested at up to this point or previously. There's this urge and this desire to, again, kind of generate this communication, to be able to sort of work through the difficulties that you two have experienced up to this point, and to move back in that direction of reciprocal love with each other. Okay, and we have daydreaming. So they are thinking a lot about you, thinking about what a fresh start would look like, what reconciliation would look like, contemplating what needs to be said, what needs to be done, starting to harness that power, that willpower within them, moving beyond this energy of complacency or, just resolution that the situation is irreparable, or where you find yourselves as, just all there is to it. This person really starting to focus on what can become in this situation, dreaming of, again, that reconciliation. And with all of this energy of dreaming and thought, that can definitely manifest in you feeling this person energetically around you. And that being a very kind of tangible confirmation, because you are heavily on their mind, you are in their heart, as much as they may not be showing or telling you in a 3D sense. Beneath the surface, there's a lot of focus, almost an exclusivity, a constancy or a pervasiveness to this, that even as much as they may try to distract themselves, focus on other things, kind of move and maintain that comfort zone of being almost shut off emotionally, that something has been activated. Kind of a valve has turned within them, and something has really been unleashed or awakened within them. And it's something that they're not able to effectively distract themselves from or for too long. And, when they allow themselves to kind of sit in that, saturate in that, allow that to kind of move through them, it really fills them with that energy of love, and it fills them with that sense of certainty. It sort of recalibrates them and redirects them to this point of knowing action needs to be taken to change these circumstances. They also say, I am still moved by you. So again, very much affected by you energetically, by this connection, by the profound effect that this spark and what was built between the two of you, what that has done for them. In some way, this almost feels that you've cracked some kind of a code within this person. Something where they may have been very shut down in the heart space, very resistant or very apathetic to love, very resolved that, they had their fill of love in this lifetime, or it just, wasn't something that was in the cards for them maybe. But there's something that has really been reignited within them through this connection with you, a trust, a hopefulness, a desire to, maybe give love a chance. That maybe this time, things would work out as they hadn't in the past. And this could be very outside of this person's comfort zone, which again could have maybe triggered them to kind of pull back, withdraw, or even kind of reject you if you had been the one to kind of try to move things forward or be a little bit assertive in this situation. But in that distance, in that kind of place of retreat, there still is, again, a lot of thought about you, a lot circling in the heart space about this connection and this desire and this draw and this pull to move beyond wherever you find yourselves currently. And they also say, you are the only one who truly gets me. So again, this deep level of intimacy, a capacity and a caliber of love that they never knew was possible, that they had never experienced with anyone before, that still affects them, it still moves them. It is something which is calling them back home. There's a sense of this person feeling very almost lonely and isolated, as if they pushed away their best friend, in a sense, feeling that by pushing this away or not seizing this opportunity or acting upon this, that they've in some way denied some part of themselves, feeling very seen and accepted, very nurtured by you. Maybe even with that reference that came up here with many lives, you know, this past life connection that is becoming very apparent to this person, either literally in terms of materials that they are researching, or again, the sense of familiarity, the sense of ease and comfort of the two of you really not getting to know each other, but remembering one another. And this being something, this connection, this dynamic is very unique from anything they've experienced before with anyone else, and very different from anything they may have in their life also at this point in time. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. Group 3, this could be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got B, L, R, H, S, I, T, K, V, Q, U, X, W, Z, and P. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.